things.
With 1 of every 10 Americans still out of work and companies cutting jobs and slashing salaries, one Valley company is taking a completely different approach. You know GoDaddy from its sex-laced Super Bowl commercials, but GoDaddy registers more domain names on the internet than any other company in the world. It registers or renews a domain name every second, 43 million today. Now, far from belt-tightening in a down economy, GoDaddy is hiring, handing out lavish bonuses. A 5-year employee, for instance, gets $1,000, a 10-year employee, $10,000, and get this, the company even picks up the taxes on it.
You know, everybody here is just treated very well, and we're well respected, and we have fun, and it's just a great atmosphere. Like I said, it's very much like the next best thing to working at Disneyland.
It's a pretty strong endorsement. GoDaddy founder and CEO Bob Parsons joins us live tonight from the headquarters in Scottsdale. Thanks for joining us tonight. How are you doing this in this economy?
Well, John, how are we doing it in this economy? We're growing by, this year we're going to grow by 22%. And, you know, that's been pretty much our trajectory all along. One of the exciting things about GoDaddy is we are standing in front of one of the largest secular movements that the world has ever known, and that's the adoption of the internet. Now, keep in mind, we do 50% of all domain names registered worldwide. We're the largest company of any registrar. We're larger than our 7 greatest competitors.
Now, I don't want to turn this into a commercial, Bob. Hang on for a second. Now, you're taking...
Okay, well, you know, I get carried away.
I know. I want to get back to the idea that companies are slashing, pulling in, they're sitting on cash. You're going a different direction. Why are you giving out these bonuses to your workers?
Well, the reason we give, you know, we reward our workers the way we do is because it creates enthusiasm, and enthusiasm's contagious. You know, when a customer contacts a GoDaddy employee for a world-class service, that enthusiasm comes through the phone, and what does that customer do? They tell 10 other people, and of course that's why 80% of our business comes to us word of mouth.
You guys back in 2006, you toyed with the idea of going public. And my question is, you know, you're privately held, you're a rich guy, you can do what you want, you can hand out 10 grand, a grand, 100 grand if you want to. But if you were a publicly traded company, if you did that and you had stockholders to answer to, a board of directors, could you do this stuff?
Well, you know, it all depends on the stockholders and the board of directors. The good thing is we're not a public company now, and as far as our plans, whether we will become a public company or not, you know, that's something that's always on the table.
Bob, people may not know you're a Marine, decorated, you served in Vietnam, you were awarded the Purple Heart, you taught yourself computer programming. There are people out there tonight in a world of hurt trying to find a job, they desperately want a job. What advice would you give them?
Well, you know, I would do what my dad always told me. My dad told me, he said, you know, when you love something, it tells you all its secrets. So find something that you love, and that's where you spend your time, and that's what you do. I did that with computer programming. I taught myself how to program, and I spent a lot of time with it. I worked harder than other people would that just did it for a living, and, well, here we have GoDaddy.
You know, I got to ask you this, because I'm dying to ask you this. These commercials, Super Bowl commercials, it's kind of your hallmark. I mean, and it is laced with sex, maybe objectifies women, whatever you want to call it. Do you have women in your company? You got to be kidding.
He didn't want that question, John.
What I was going to ask, and I'm going to ask it anyway. Do the female employees at GoDaddy come to Bob and say, hey, Bob, cool it. But we may not get an answer.
Wait, did Bob have his finger on the stop?
Bob's got a nuclear button at GoDaddy. This is amazing.
He sensed a tough question, John.
He's a Marine. He can handle it. Come on.
All right. I'm sure he gets a little bit of an earful. But, you know, when you're giving away $10,000 bonuses, maybe people don't complain. All right. That was great,
Bob,
John.
thank you for joining us tonight. That was interesting. Before we move on here, we have been told that Bob Parsons did not hit the nuclear button on that interview, that we actually lost our satellite window at the most inappropriate time. So apologies to Bob. As a Marine, I'm sure he would have answered the question.
Right.
So this was a technical issue. Bob Parsons did not have some nuclear button to eject me and Fox 10 and all of you. So I wanted to set the
We need
record
to get the
straight
answer on that, but by the way.
I'm dying to hear the answer on that.
Coming up on Fox 10 News.
No, this is not a repeat. Look who's back. GoDaddy founder and CEO Bob Parsons. Bob, you do not have a nuclear button that cut us off in the middle of my provocative question? Okay.
You know, actually, no, I don't. But I tell you, I really appreciate you guys having me back so I could answer that.
Yeah, and the question was for people just joining us. We were talking about you're giving these incredible bonuses while all companies seem to be cutting back. You're giving very generous bonuses. But I asked you at the very end of the interview, as we look at some very alluring video, I know you're a very handsome guy, but we have some more alluring video of someone else who's like your staple, Danica Patrick. Do women in your company ever come up to you and say, Bob, cool it with the sexist ads?
You know, actually, no, that never happens. You know, what your viewers don't know is that our marketing department is staffed almost entirely with women. It's women that come up with the commercials. We do surveys around every commercial. 80% of the women, that we survey rather like the commercials. So, they're not nearly as racy as people make them out to be.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more shot here because you were kind enough to join us again. Thank you for that. So you didn't punch out when we asked you a tough question. Bob, a little pearl of wisdom, because I know you've got 16 principles you live your life by. What would you like to pass on, given kind of the economic climate we're in and tough times?
Well, the most important thing anybody can do is to make an effort towards getting a job or starting a business, and to follow through and do at least something each and every day. And if you make a step each and every day, after a while, you've done a lot. And, Woody Allen once said, 95% of success is showing up. Well, there's a lot of wisdom to that. Yeah.
Hey, Bob, thank you. And thank you for joining us again. And I'm glad to see that you didn't have some nuclear button to cut us off in the middle of the interview when it got a little rough. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
All right. You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Seems like a fun guy.